Drug users beware. This company was built on busting drunk drivers, and now it's coming after you.
The policeman just simply tears it open, takes out the cassette, removes the blue portion.
Felix Como's Toronto-based firm sells a German device that tests saliva for the presence of cannabis, cocaine, meth, and opioids.
Policeman just asks the driver to open his mouth, stick out his tongue. If drugs are present, then control lines will appear, as on this sample here.
Oh, so it's just like a pregnancy test in some ways, right?
Very right.
The drug wipe is currently being evaluated by the federal government. But Como's company is just one of many that would love to win the drug test sweepstakes. Whoever gets approved as the official provider of testing devices to Canadian police forces stands to make millions.
Today, we're presenting the Draeger Drug Check 3000.
This German device is already used in the UK and Australia. Its maker also wants into the Canadian market
to prove the presence of THC.
And then there's this brand new product, a marijuana breathalyzer. It's the brainchild of a former RCMP officer.
But our device will begin by determining that somebody is actually impaired by THC and giving the officer the rights to arrest somebody on that basis.
Doug Biernes has been asked by the Federal Department of Justice to lead an approval process for those devices. He sees it as a life or death issue.
Well, what we know about drivers who die in crashes is that the incidence of drugs is almost equal to that of alcohol these days.
If you look at fatal crashes, the most recent data shows that almost 36% of drivers had been drinking. 40% tested positive for drugs, including cocaine, opiates, and methamphetamine. But almost half of those with drugs in their system had used marijuana. So the question is, what exactly will those detection devices measure? And is there an equivalent to a blood alcohol limit for marijuana? The answer is a little hazy right now.
The types of impairment, the types of effects of alcohol are very different than the types of impairment that you see from cannabis. There is some overlap, but it's very different. Also, the pharmacology of those two substances is extremely different, and it's really difficult to find a common test.
This is a public service announcement from Colorado, where marijuana was legalized 2 years ago. Installing your new TV while high is now legal. Driving to get a new one isn't. In Colorado, the legal limit for drivers is 5 nanograms of THC, the active ingredient in marijuana, per milliliter of blood. Now, of course, I am not high. No, I haven't been using cannabis, but the people who operate this simulator at the Center for Mental Health and Addiction usually have been.
So we can now analyze the data.
Robert Mann is running a study, getting participants to smoke up, then monitoring their behavior behind the wheel.
We're looking at the impact of cannabis on driving simulator performance to see how it affects psychomotor performance, the various aspects of the driving task, and we'll be relating that to levels of THC in the blood.
Mann and his team hope to help figure out what Canada's legal limit should be. Now, I'm going quite slowly, and I read that people who've been smoking cannabis, they do drive more slowly than...
That's a typical finding. People might argue, sure, if I drive slower, I'm a better driver. That's not true.
The results of the study are still being analyzed. The legislation that's coming will need to set a limit for impairment and give police the power to demand samples at the side of the road.
We do it for alcohol. Why wouldn't we do a similar sort of thing for drugs? The problem is approximately equal magnitude. What we need is something to help police officers get these people off the road.
Entrepreneurs like Cal Molly see opportunity, and so do investors.
This year we've raised a little bit over $2 million to progress our development, and we have a loyal investor base that is going to fund us as we develop and move forward.
Now, what would it mean for your company if the drug wipe was chosen to be sort of the official drug tester for Canadian Police Force?
We'd sell a lot of test kits.
There are lives to be saved and millions of dollars to be made.